Welcome to today's stream. Sorry, just bear in mind, I'm sick. Though I've had to tune the mic up just a tiny bit because I'm not gonna bother trying to talk very loud. But welcome. It's nice to see everyone again. It's nice to see you all. Today, it's gonna be a very interesting day. One, I'm sick. Hopefully I sound fine. I tuned the mic up, so hopefully I do sound fine. My voice will be a bit lower in general, just because I don't want to strain too much. Hopefully you don't hear too many breathing noises too. If I sneeze, I'm going to sneeze. You will be afraid. I sneeze like I've been told I sneeze like an old Asian grandpa, which is funny because that is exactly how all of my old Asian grandpas sneeze, which is very loudly. So whenever I sneeze, I give my wife a heart attack. I've also scared my dog, so it's if it scares. Listen, I've scared two species, right? A human and an animal. You're going to be scared too. You are currently listening to a Dark Academia playlist. My wife is really into Dark Academia, but I never understood what Dark Academia was, and then YouTube randomly recommended me this playlist by a YouTube channel called Helder. Very good stuff. They have a bunch of different playlists of these songs, and they even, it seems like, play the actual like piano songs themselves. So a lot of these seem like their own compositions. The playlist is like a mix of their own compositions as well as other people's piano playing. And it's a surprisingly interesting mood because now it all makes sense, right? Whenever my wife and I look at photos of London, she's like, I want to go there. I want to go to Japan. She wants to go to London. In the UK, not London, Ontario, which is in Canada. It's not. We have a London in Ontario in Canada. It's not as cool. It's not as nice. The architecture does not look as nice. But we do eventually want to go because of that cool looking like Gothic architecture. And I thought today it'd be fun to show you all, and also because I completely forgot to pull up the stream playlist again. Sorry, but we're not only going to be looking at things. Today is going to be a very long stream because a lot of things have been happening in the gaming sphere, right? Not just bad things, good things. Just yesterday, I'm not even kidding you, like 12 indie games I've been looking forward to all dropped in one day. There simply isn't enough time. So to give you a short list of what released yesterday, because I think these are the games that are going to interest you all very well. I'm gonna ramble out the names, and hopefully you can figure Little Kitty, Big City, Critmaster, shoot. There's more, but I don't know in my list which one's released yesterday or not. So I'm gonna stop there. Sorry, my list is all I clicked the sort button by accident. Animal Well, yes, Animal Well as well. A Metroidvania, so you know that I'm going to play that at some point. But there's a key problem here, right? Though we have many mind monkeys, there is only one body through which all of your desires are affected out into the world, right? You were thinking of playing Little Kitty. See, I was thinking about to. I just might. Sorry, I'm kind of sick. Simply because I don't know if you ever played Okami on the PS2, but Okami, the best part of that game to me was when you were just the dog and you could like dig holes in the ground, steal people's like crops, and then bark at them. And then they would get scared and they would chase after you, trying to like hit you, like stuff like that. I don't know why. The most compelling part of that entire game was the fact that you were a dog, and I've always wanted a game where you're just a dog. And lo and behold, they come up with Little Kitty Big City, where it's like Okami, but instead of a dog, you're a cat. Instead of fighting off demons, then you can just you just fight off your like urge to cause chaos. Yeah, let me be a little shit. Exactly. See, it's that kind of game, right? It's that kind of game. It's a bit like that like duck game, the like goose game, but as a cat. And it seems like it's really good with the interactions. I saw one gif of it, one single gif, where some NPC was walking, and you could walk in front of them and they would trip. And I was like, this is my kind of game. You don't even need a banana. You just have yourself, right? Why throw banana peel on floor when you can be the reason why people trip? And I love that because that's exactly what small animals do. That's what Missy does. Our little like chihuahua. We can't ever see her. So whenever I'm like walking, I'll feel it and I'll be like, uh-oh, I don't want to hurt her, so I trip. I take the fall damage so that she doesn't take the kick damage. It's very interesting. Until a goose game, exactly. Yep. So listen, there's been a lot of games. It's been a lot of games. The problem is that we don't have enough time. So we're gonna go for long streams, okay? I'm done work. For the foreseeable future, I'm now done work. at least until I get like a new contract, which means we're gonna be going for like 16-hour streams as we used to. So upload schedule is gonna be interesting, and maybe my sleep schedule will be bad. Maybe we'll rotate around, but it's fine because I've been waiting for these games for so long that I just kind of want to play them. You may see some interruptions here and there just because I do have things to like do, like, you know, like chores and stuff, but it doesn't take that long. 16, well, I mean, 16 is an exaggeration. For there to be 16-hour streams, I would need to sleep less than 8 hours of sleep because I would need like an hour or so to go poop, which is like, there's just not enough time. So maybe like 14-hour streams, but we have done like 20-hour streams before, if only because I was addicted to certain games, and I know that I'm going to be addicted now. But before the games, before we get addicted to the games, there's another thing that was, you know, on my mind, and it's that I'm addicted to topics. I don't know why, but so okay, you're listening to Dark Academia, right? The reason why I'm addicted to this is because of this. Okay, well that was supposed to be a lot more dramatic. I forgot to load it. Sorry, give me a second. Sorry. This is okay. This is awkward. Here we go. This is okay. Here we go. Okay, this is awkward. Still awkward. All right, cool. Nice. Good. Yeah. Because of this. This is Dark... Okay, I don't know why it's blocking me. This is Dark Academia. This is the subreddit for Dark Academia. Dark Academia is defined as a aesthetic, almost. This idea of, like, you wanting to be in a almost like an educational context where you can almost, like, fix it, and where there's problems, and where you can kind of, like, change it to be better by way of subverting the systems. But also just because I don't know why, but certain looks, it looks very timeless. It looks very cool. It's a bit like Succession Core if you were poor and you were just and were in school. It's basically it's Succession Core if you were in school, basically, right? My wife and I really enjoy, again, this sort of a, like, architecture, right? This look, this right here is what we want. In Canada, I'm not even kidding you, it's flat farmland into wilderness with forests and trees. And in the few pockets of civilization that we have, Toronto's the only city in the entire country. What you have is skyscrapers, very boring stuff. You don't even have, like, walkable cities, right? We basically have, like, a miniature version of, like, the Midwest of America in, like, pockets. And then we also have, like, a miniature version of, like, New York. And we have the worst of both worlds in terms of, like, walkability. Not Just Bikes on YouTube explains this very, very well. But he explains it from the viewpoint of somebody not living in Toronto, but somebody living in Calgary, which is even worse. So again, it's you know, he has it bad, all right? But we had it bad as well. But he also shows some clips of Toronto. Basically, it's not as cool as this, right? But when you see this and you listen to the music, just, like, let it sit in. Just let it settle. Just really enjoy this for a moment. There's something really cool about this aesthetic. Now, apparently this thing got really popular on Tumblr back in like 2016. I always miss the good stuff, but now I understand what my wife likes. So for a long time, she's been really into this, but I never understood why. So she really likes Harry Potter too. I find the Harry Potter aesthetic to be kind of like fun at times, but I also like find it to be very like, I don't know, like weird and like nasty and like musty almost. But then you look at this, and then somehow this photo here like makes me want to be in like immersed in the musk. Immersed in this like world where there's like fog everywhere and there's like weird spider webs in the corner, and oh no, you open a book and you're transported to some fantasy land. Obviously that doesn't really happen, but what I would give to go back in time to be a student, not in Canada. Probably the most boring place to be a student. Imagine you're students in this random nondescript place. I have no clue where this is. And you just go there, and you go to school, and your school has a bell tower. Cool. But yeah, I really enjoy the look of this thing, and also I set it up so that I can see the next post before it appears, just in case it's not safe for work because I don't really know. But while I was scrolling through this and listening to this playlist, because this playlist again that I found was just randomly recommended to me, and I found the name of the playlist funny because the name of the playlist is literally called "You Finally Find the Person You've Always Dreamed of," and the comments are fascinating. The comments feel like the most wildest comments ever. But then when you look at the entire aesthetic, it all makes sense, right? Like that the title of this playlist makes perfect sense when you're in a place like Edinburgh, apparently. Is there really a more dark academia city than Edinburgh? And honestly, I mean, I don't think so. Look at it. Yeah. This looks like I would go to school here. Would love to be in school here. I need to really preface this, okay? I'm saying if I could go back in time, I'd love to be in school. I don't want to go be in a school setting now as an adult. That's probably illegal. For good reasons. Probably illegal. And now we know that that other one is Edinburgh. I mean, look, imagine, okay? You go home from the market to your, 1800s Victorian home, and down the street, your neighbor who lives on top of the church steeple says, "Hey, Frederick." And yes, I would be named Frederick if I lived here. 100% I would be named Frederick. If my parents don't name me Frederick but I was born here, they would be doing me a disservice. I played an older Sherlock Holmes game, and walking through that game had that fog and building style. Yes, the ones by Frogware, right? They have like a bunch of them actually. They have like a ton of Sherlock Holmes games. Did you know actually that there's only really like one Sherlock Holmes game creator? Like no, I don't think anybody else either has the license to it or just wants to do it. It's a bit like Nancy Drew. Like there's only one company that only does Nancy Drew games. The Sherlock Holmes games are only done by one single company named Frogwares. All of their games are surprisingly good except for like some of them. I used to watch Dodger Dex Bonus play them on her YouTube channel before the YouTube channel died, and now I watch her on stream. I think she played the latest one on the stream. But yeah, they're surprisingly good, and they really do capture that aesthetic. Again, it makes you feel like you're a detective in like an olden time, but it feels so nice. And honestly, like, wouldn't you want to be here? I mean, it looks so cool. Same, that's what made you want to play it. See, exactly, right? And honestly, like, it's nice that like there's so many of them too, because like when you play one, it's like you have different storylines to go down. And I didn't realize this, but all the Sherlock Holmes stories, they're loosely connected by the characters. But it's a bit like Cowboy Bebop, where each episode is like its own thing. Each like book, each like story is its own self-contained thing. So it's nice. Even if you see one, there's so much more content to like see. And I actually didn't know that they made one in 2023. So maybe we'll play that at some points. Look at this. Look at this library. Chat, okay, listen, I was a terrible studier, right? I never studied. Never bothered going to classes. I mean, you know my story. I dropped out and I became a programmer. But this, I would have done. I would have stayed in school just for this library, and then probably been annoyed because there's no way people would have been quiet here. I feel like, before college, everyone's really loud instead of libraries, and afterwards, it's like there. I mean, look at this. Imagine looking out a window and you see a castle, and you're like, "Wow, is this Assassin's Creed or is this real life?" Oh, so cool. Yeah, I just want to show you it all because now I have a name for what my wife enjoys as an aesthetic. And it was funny because I sent her the playlist immediately because I was like, I know that she's going to love this. And she's like, "Honey, I like this playlist." I was like, yes, I know my wife. I've been trying for many years to build a library like this. It's very hard and very expensive. Even if you get your own wood and you cut your own wood and you do it yourself, it's very, very difficult. I can't tell you how hard it is to find wood that's just like not warped, like wood that isn't bendy and weird and squiggly. It's very strange. Wood, you would think that wood, right, could be cut into a very uniform shape, and like the weird squiggly bits would be discarded. But no, I forget that trees grow and they're wiggly, and so like the wood that comes from them will be wiggly too. In fact, apparently, for you to get quality wood, the best way for you to get quality wood is to take old furniture and dismantle it. Modern wood is not nearly as like good. But this is the kind of vibe that I really want to go for, right? Not just in terms of like, in general, but even just for today's stream. Today's stream is going to be a bit more moody, right? Broody, but not sad. broody in the terms of like it makes you think, it makes you introspect. We're going to be playing a game called Crypt Master today, later on today. It's a game about using words. We're also going to be solving a murder, because it's a daily murder thing that I found, which just seems cool. We're going to be doing a lot of fun things today. A lot of thinking things today. Today's going to be a very subdued stream. Not only because I'm sick, but also because I thought it would fit the mood of today. My mood. And I think it's important to stream to one's mood. Otherwise, you know, why are you here? Look at this. Can't believe I get to spend a year here for my masters. I know. I'm so jealous of you, random stranger. And look, I just never get tired of looking at anybody. Do you think these people get annoyed? That they're like trying to live in their like upstairs corner lot and people keep taking photographs of them? But also, how do these places like... How do these work? How do you live in here? It's just a giant circle. Ah, it's so cool though. And then, you know, some people get like very close to modern style dark academia, but I think it fails. I think, okay, I think the best academia is stuff like this. Look at that. Oh, cool. What a cool aesthetic. But yeah, today's gonna be a very moody, broody kind of day. It's not necessarily a bad day, but there's a couple of things to like talk about too. And just to play in like general, that's like more introspective. For instance, Dungeon Meshi, the anime. It's really good. You guys should definitely watch that. I know that's a weird jump, but I find it to be a very interesting anime because it's very different from other animes, I find. In general, the manga for Dungeon Meshi, or Delicious in Dungeon, feels very different from the others because of how it's structured. It feels much more thoughtful. It feels a lot more like you're going into their thought process than it is you're watching for the action. The action is very, very minimal. It feels more almost like a exploration type of manga slash anime where you're going on an adventure with them and you're learning alongside the characters, and it feels like you're learning too, and it feels like you're learning in a way that feels fun because it's like a whole bunch of clues that you need to put together almost. It's a fascinating style of show. It reminds me a lot of like other sort of deduction type shows where it's like, oh, trying to figure out what like goes on and like stuff. It's a bit like imagine if like Hannibal didn't reveal immediately what Hannibal was, right? And you didn't know what Hannibal was, and you just and you had to figure out what's like happening, right? It's a bit like that. Maybe that's a bad comparison actually. What's another deduction show that's like good that everyone knows? Imagine like Sherlock Holmes if he was really hungry and was a cannibal, and because there's no monsters IRL, so when he finds like a criminal who like murdered someone, he eats them. he eats them because when he's like, Watson, I'm hungry. I just cook me that man. Watson, I'm hungry. Cook me that man. How dare he murder this person? Cook me him. That's basically what Dungeon Meshi feels like. And it's fascinating how they structure it. I think right now we're at episode 4, but I've read the whole manga, so I know how the story's going to end up. It's a very good adaptation because you wouldn't think that the flow would work very well for 30-minute episodes. It's a weird medium shift going from manga to like a show, but I think it works very, very well because the way that they pad things out and the way that they animate things makes it look very interesting. They keep you very enticed with a lot of visual elements, which is good. Like Dexter, but with eating? Yes. It's a bit like Dexter, but with eating. Yes. It like, honestly, it is. Because you're set up with this mystery of like, what are these monsters? What do they do? What do they taste like? I'm not kidding you. I'm not kidding you, chat. The key question that, you know, Laos always says is, I wonder what this tastes like, right? And at first you're like, this is insane. But at some point, I think by the end of episode 2, but as soon as episode 3 starts, the moment that you see a monster, I think you start to subconsciously ask yourself like, yeah, what does that taste like, right? And you can't wait to see them eat it and explain what it tastes like. It's a very fascinating show. Yeah, it's like Dexter. If Dexter was a murderous cook who also ate like bad monsters, but he was, in this case, he'd have to be a cannibal because the only bad monsters are like people, right? But in the show, it's monsters. But it's really, really, really good. Highly recommend that you all watch it. I thought it'd be bad, but I'm actually thoroughly impressed with the show. Some crazy things have been happening too. Besides the good stuff, like the show's releasing and the game's releasing. There's a lot of other things that have been happening in the AAA space of the games. I don't know if you guys have heard. I don't play Helldivers because I'm lonely. But Helldivers 2, Sony reversed their decision for the PSN account thing, which I talked about a bit during the Castlevania stream. And I thought it wouldn't happen. And then they posted about it. And I was like, whoa, that's like weird. It's weird for a company to go full reversal on their choices. Obviously, they still don't sell in like most of the categories out there, but at least they reversed their decision and allow people to like play the game now, and also don't force you to connect accounts. The only bad monsters are people. Deep, welcome, and also CSD, Deep. Today is a broody, moody day. Today's an introspective day. I don't know about you, but I don't know how many of you have had to deal with this. You buy a game that looks cool, then all of a sudden it has its own launcher. Ubisoft is the most, I think, prevalent offender of this issue. No, not offender. EA games also kind of like run into this issue too. I just bought actually Mass Effect Legendary Edition, which is about $5 USD on Steam, but it's $7 Canadian because Canadians get shafted. So, but when I tried to start that game, it also tried to install the EA launcher. So when we play that game, I'm gonna have to deal with the EA launcher. A lot of fascinating things there, but it's never fun to have to link your account. So hopefully they stick with that decision. Yeah, but they still removed the game from a bunch of countries. I feel like they're not finished with it. Exactly, yeah. So it's, as I said, yeah, like there's still issues with their choices. And so it's like, I do hope that they eventually reverse that as well. Because it's fascinating when companies take games off of sale in certain countries. Because it feels like you're limiting your reach for no real reason. Unless it's like a real legal reason or like a real content reason, right? I can't tell you, it's very difficult to sell a game in China, for instance. If your game has any blood or bones, it's just very hard to do because it's specifically banned there. Otherwise, you get like an adult rating, I think, or you don't get to sell at all. I think they changed it recently to like an adult rating, but I remember back then when I worked with a studio, they were like, yeah, we can't have any blood or bones. We want to have this in China, and we can't do it because they'll just never sell our game. And I was like, whoa. Dota 2 famously had their rework an entire character of theirs, Skeleton King, into the Wraith King they basically, Dota 2 made an entire in-game event where they brought a character who is canonically dead back to life just to get around the blood and the bones and the skeleton thing, because the character used to be a giant walking skeleton and that wasn't allowed in like China, and then they had to fix him anyway, so they were like, all right, everyone gets the fix. It's a whole lore event. It was a really cool event, but that's how far you kind of have to go. In cases like that, I understand, because not everyone has the money of like Valve to like do events like that. In other places though, it doesn't really make sense. And if you look at the list of like the 100+ countries that they remove Helldivers 2 from, it's a lot of places don't have any issues, right? And actually Steam in Vietnam is also gone too, which is interesting. There's been a lot of like weird shifts in the gaming space. It's very unfortunate for a lot of players. Wait, was it Dota or was it even for it? It was surprisingly in Dota 2. I think it was before. It was after the international. So when they released the Skeleton King, they had him, and then they had a whole event at some point in like patch 1 point something. It was a very interesting event. It was a cool event too, because it was like a PvE event, but it was meant to be like a cool sort of like, you know, show off event of like what they could do, but it was really just because of the censorship stuff, and the game was getting large in the China, and they had to get a solution. The Witcher 3 GOG. Yes, The Witcher 3 is also on the GOG launcher. Cyberpunk 2077 is also that as well, actually, which is kind of annoying. And again, there's a lot of games that are like this, so it's strange whenever these companies want to force these things. Again, it's just a strange approach by Sony. It doesn't take much of a genius to think that like, okay, maybe this isn't going to work for most players, especially on PC. PC is like a very different environment, right? So, like it's very much about people who just want to have control over their playing space. And I don't know anybody who enjoys having more accounts. Because again, more accounts means more passwords, more ways that your data can be leaked. Like it's a lot of headache to even like think about making a new account and having to remember it. I hate having to play my old Ubisoft games and needing to like find my old Ubisoft account that was attached to them. Now I have a password manager, and if I was sponsored by a password manager, this would be the best segue. But I tried to email 1Password, and their legal team has told me to stop contacting them. You didn't know it was a skeleton before. Didn't know it was because of China. Heck W. Well, that's my assumption, at least. But it was around that like time. It was after the international, when I think they were trying to like go into the Chinese market, and there was a bunch of like really cool things happening there. And it was also, it coincided with a patch that removed a lot of the blood and the bone stuff. So it was with that patch where they removed a lot of references to skeletons and like blood, where you could turn off blood and like stuff. So that was my assumption, because it's like, if it wasn't because of that and it was just lore, they would just do it to make him alive and they wouldn't do everything else. But before the Necronomicon was removed, that I think that same patch, or like around then, or just before then, they changed the minions to not be skeletons, and they changed them to be like demons. Same with like certain monsters. Like, I'm pretty sure most of the monsters are now not like, you know, skeletons. Obviously, in the West, the Wraith King still summons skeletons as part of his like moves, and he still has a very skeletal figure. But otherwise, in China, I'm pretty sure he has like bones. It's a very interesting look at sort of like how games have to change their content for different markets. But again, aside from that, every other country on that list for Helldivers 2, there's no need to like change it. Vietnam is a different case. Vietnam just sort of like is trying to incentivize local game development and local game consumption. And so they banned all external parties, basically. It's pretty interesting. They basically banned Steam, pretty much. But that's a whole different thing. You had the Assassin's Creed Revelations Collection edition from 10 years ago, so no idea if it even works still. I mean, that's the thing, right? That's the other thing that these launcher changes do too, is that it starts out small, right? It starts off as like, oh, just to connect your accounts, and then they wrap all their games in this launcher. But many times they don't bother to update their old games into the launcher. So when you try to play those games, it no longer works. It usually almost always happens like a couple years down the line once they started. Thankfully, I don't think Sony was ever going to go down the route of their own PC launcher. They're very focused on, you know, the console market, just because, I mean, they have their own console. They're one of the only console makers out there, of which there are only like 3, so I don't think they would have ever gone down the launcher route. But the ones that like do, it's annoying. And even if you don't, the fact that you still have to sign into a PlayStation account is like frustrating. Another annoying side effect is that because it's on like a single account, you often can't like switch very easily. Steam makes it very easy for you to change your account details. Not very often, mind you, but still enough where it's like you have some way of updating your information if you say lose your email or something, right? Like it's very easy to sort of change your identity on Steam, or if you move places far. On PSN, I don't even think you can move countries. I think you just lose your account. A lot of these online accounts, you just lose them. And another one that was similar actually was games for Windows Live, which I mean, Microsoft's game division in general has been going through a lot of things. They've been going through a lot of like bad decisions as well. I don't know if you all heard. The Hi-Fi Rush team is gone, so Tango Gameworks. 2 more studios were gone as well. A lot of Bethesda studios are like gone. And interestingly, like the day after, they said we need more like, you know, small sort of titles that are very high quality hits. They said that right after they laid off the team that made Hi-Fi Rush. So in general, yeah, the whole AAA space is getting very interesting, very caustic. But it's why it's so fascinating to sort of see yesterday, when I think yesterday was like the waterfall of indie games, right? It's I mean, just this whole week, Hades 2 released. We're going to be playing that today as well at some point, if we have time after Cryptmaster. I don't think I can do like a full 14 hours of Cryptmaster, but we'll see. But it's fascinating to see the industry sort of swinging now all of a sudden towards indies, right? We saw this again, I think a long time ago, back when indies was first starting to crop up. What with Braid and, you know, that other one by something Fish. It was like that weird 2D platformer. Like these, back then there was like a huge boom of indie games, and then, you know, the Xbox arcades supported them, and then the PlayStation arcade had them, and like stuff like that. And then it like died down, and AAA games sort of like rose up, and then now it's going back into that cycle of indie games, right? It's fascinating to see this like cyclical nature of the games industry. I'm both happy for it and sad. I'm sad that people lost their jobs. I'm happy that we're getting to see more indie games, but I just wish that nobody had to lose their jobs for it. It's very interesting and frustrating to see executives sort of like be so disconnected from the people who make their games and the people who play their games. It's very odd. I think Pirate Software talked about this recently, actually. He was like, actually, interestingly, Pirate Software had an interview recently with a publisher, the publisher of games like Manalords. and other fun games, weird like niche games. And he mentions at least the publisher was like, yeah, like 90% of most other publishers just like suck. And I wouldn't be remiss to, and it's not necessarily bad to say that. I actually think that's very true. And I've said that before as well. You never really know with these executives, but at least this has shown that they don't really know what they're doing. And they're really just sort of like coasting off of the laurels of the people who do the work for them. But at least we have a bunch of indie games to play now. A lot of them, actually. I also found, actually, there's one more thing that I want to show you all. Did you know about the pain scale? I know we're going all over the place today, but there's been so much that I wanted to show you all for so long that it's like, when I'm sick and I can't stream, it's very boring for me because I don't play games off stream. And I don't really talk to people. Like, I talk to people, but I can't talk to people about stuff like this because they'll look at me and they go, huh? So I wait for moments like this to show you all this. Here. This is the Schmidt pain scale. I know, that sounds really strange. This is a scale of pain. So this is the pain that you feel when you're, say, stung by certain bugs or something. It's a very interesting scale because you wouldn't really expect it to exist. But basically, the way that the scale was made was some dude just walked around, saw a bunch of bugs, and got stung by them. And he recorded like 70 different things. It reminds me of that one channel. There's a channel on YouTube that has this exact same premise, but he just gets stung by them for the sake of like clout. This guy got stung for the sake of science, so he got paid less overall. So, entomologist Justin Smith, thank you for your sacrifice. He recorded his own experience of venomous stings to rate and describe the pain caused by the venom of insects, and he wrote a small description of each one. And so I was reading this and I was laughing, and I thought I should share this with you all because of how funny it was. The red fire ant. I wasn't laughing because I was, trying to be like, because I was like, okay with him being hurt. I was just laughing because of the absurdity of it, okay? Sharp, sudden, mildly alarming, like walking across a shag carpet and reaching for the light switch, like a shock. Common science L, exactly, common science L. Tropical fire ant. You should have learned, but the carpet is the same. And when you again reach for the light switch, the shock mocks you. It's a really good piece of writing too, honestly. If Justin Schmidt wasn't a scientist, they would have been a really good writer, I think. The southern fire ant, it happens on the third day, as you reach for the light switch and you're wondering when you will ever learn. He rates this like a novel of somebody going through their life, committing like mistakes. The suturing army ant. This one is crazy. The suturing one. So the suturing army ant, I've seen a video of how it works. You see these like giant scissor-like mandibles? It uses that to cut into your skin, to like actually like cut out like a giant gash. It's terrifying. Obviously, it's not this size, but it's like it'll keep going as long as it keeps going. Like it won't stop. This one is a cut on your elbow, stitched with a rusty needle. The paper wasp. I can't believe he got stung by a wasp. Burning, throbbing, and lonely. A single drop of superheated frying oil landed on your arm. Or the bulldog ant. What is this? Intense, ripping, and sharp. The dog's tooth found its mark. Or the giant ant. A pulsing sting with some flavor. You set into a salt bath with an open wound. Ooh. A glorious velvet ant. Instantaneous, like the surprise of being stabbed. Is this what shrapnel feels like? Oh. I would not want to be stung by this. I mean, that looks terrifying. Glorious velvet ants. It's fascinating how they name these bugs too, despite how terrifying they sound. But I can see why it's called a velvet ant, because I'm going to show you a photo of it. Sorry, flush warning. Not flush. It's a bug. This is the velvet ant. That looks... If I saw this on my kitchen floor, I would scream. I don't think I'd be happy knowing that this thing exists in my life. Fancy. I don't know if fancy is the word. Maybe terrifying. That's the F word that I'm trying to find. Terrifying. How about the large tropical black ant? Exquisitely sharp and expertly clean. Broadway's favorite barber selects his next victim. Again, wonderful description. Western yellow jacket. Hot and smoky. Almost irreverent. Imagine W.C. Fields extinguishing a cigar on your tongue. I don't understand why he writes it like this. But do you see the descriptions? Each one is written like a literary masterpiece. Then it's like a sommelier, right? Tasting wines and like recommending you different wines. Like, yes, this has a hint of bringing you back to your childhood when your mother spanked you. It's like, okay, I don't know if I want to drink this, right? But he writes like that for his bug stings. Western honeybee. Biting, corrosive, but you can handle it. A flaming match head lands on your arm and is quenched with lye, and then with sulfuric acid. Trap jar ant. I've seen these. Okay, these ones hang on for dear life. Okay, these ants are really cool. So what these things do is they hang on for dear life, and if you pull it, it's a bit like a tick, where the body will come off, but the head will still be on. So what you need to do is you need to take like a pair of tweezers, and you need to actually open the mouth. I'm pretty sure that's the one. It's like terrifying to like see. Thankfully, in Canada, all we have that's going to kill us are the black widows. Your mom would never spank you, even though you asked her to. All right, listen. This is not. I'm not your therapist. I've told you this a million times. I'm just kidding. That's good. It's really good. Instantaneous and excruciating. The rat trap snaps your index fingernail. Warrior wasp. What? That sounds terrifying. Torture. You were chained in the flow of an active volcano. Why did I start this list? See, this is when I started laughing. This is when I realized, okay, maybe Justin's gone a bit too far. Maybe Justin's gone a bit too far here when he's questioning his own motivations for why he started this. Why did I start this list? Scientists give so much of their life for us to get to have this tiny morsel, not of knowledge. This is not a bed of knowledge that we'll ever use. No, this is a bed of knowledge for us to laugh at. What he wrote, what Justin wrote, was a comedy piece, right? It's like the Divine Comedy if Dante was a human and then all of hell was just a bunch of ants, like wasps. The bullet ants. I've seen a video on this. There's a guy on YouTube, again, that same guy that I mentioned before. His whole thing is getting stung for reviews. He gets stung by a bullet ant, and he says it's like the worst pain ever. I'm pretty sure there's a video of him doing like this cultural tribal practice. I think it's with bullet ants, or maybe it's with fire ants. They basically wear these gloves woven of what is it? Of like pine leaves or something. Of like, you know, very like thick, like wood strips. And it's embedded with like ants that are alive. I'm pretty sure it's like either bullet ants or fire ants. And you have to wear the gloves and endure being bit for like an hour. And you have to do that, otherwise you're not considered a grown-up. Like, you're not considered to have become a man. It's a very strange approach to puberty, but hey, I don't know. I mean, I'd rather acne than that. TBH. Traumedy. That's fantastic. Traumedy. Yeah, exactly. Traumedy. We find joy in others' pain. That's gonna appear on a police report at some point. Pure, intense, brilliant pain. Like walking over flaming charcoal with a 3-inch nail embedded in your heel. Again, very aptly described. And he writes it in such a way that like anybody can experience the pain despite never having gone through it themselves. I've never stepped on. I've never been stung by a bullet ant, but I've seen flaming charcoal. I've seen how hot it can get. I can imagine the pain on my foot, and I've definitely had a splinter before, so I can imagine what a 3-inch nail must feel like. Tarantula hawk wasp. Ooh. Blinding, fierce, shockingly electric. A running hairdryer has been dropped into your bubble bath. Wow, that is incredibly dark. But also, like, wow, that's an incredibly vivid, I guess, like, telling of how it feels. And there's more. That whole list is like 70 bugs long. I couldn't find the full list though, but apparently there's a full list somewhere in like a science journal at some point. You have to like buy the journal, hope that you find like a valid copy of it somewhere. If you do though, apparently there's like 80 different things. So thank you, Justin Schmidt, for sacrificing whatever body parts that you had to these various science experiments. We appreciate it. And that's pretty much all I had to share with you all. There wasn't really much that I prepared to share with you all, but it's fine because I don't want to talk too much again, as I said, yesterday was the great waterfall of indie games. If I can figure out which ones were released yesterday, I'll tell you all the names. But there's been a lot. There were at least, I think, like 12. At least 12. And then there were many more that were announced yesterday too. There was a whole trend on Twitter of indie devs where they were doing this whole my game and my inspirations. The best one was Signalis. I thought the Signalis devs had a very, very interesting way of telling their inspirations, because Signalis is a game that's fundamentally about time as well. And so they did that whole thing where it's like a looping back on itself square, and it gets smaller and smaller and smaller, but there's a new inspiration every single timeline. It's very fascinating. But there's a bunch. And because of that, we need to make good on our time. We need to actually play these games. And we're going to be starting today with a very interesting game. It's not really a game, it's more of a daily thing that you do every day, but I thought it'd be fun just to go into it because it seems interesting. We're going to be doing a murder mystery. It's called Myrtle. It's one of those DLE things like Wordle, but in this case, instead of solving a word, you solve who's been killed. However, I have one specific piano song that I want to show you all before we start that, so we'll do a quick BRB. I want you to all listen to this song. It fits the same aesthetic of Dark Academia, but I thought you would all enjoy this song because I enjoyed it. And I imagine you all would enjoy it too. And also because I didn't structure this very, very well, and this was supposed to have a better segue, but whatever, just deal with it. This is Dreamland by Robert Gramotka. I'm so sorry for butchering your name, Robert. I didn't mean to. Wait. And also, it gives me time because I had to make a quick call. Sorry. Okay, wait. You can't hear the music yet. I know. Just okay. Sorry. I should have prepared that sooner. Okay, so this. It's spinning. It is spinning. She's spinning. My little baby's spinning. All right. Enjoy. It's a beautiful song, and there's something about it that reminds me of an older song that I don't quite recall. It's like that. It's the first intro notes. It's these notes. Those notes into this progression, into the loop back into the second one. That reminds me of a different song that I can't recall what. I thought it was the Amelie song, and I thought maybe this song was like an old song that just resurfaced, but the song was uploaded 10 months ago. So it's not this song, but it's also not the Amelie song, which is this one. But there's something about that like progression that has been stuck in my mind ever since I heard about it. But I haven't been able to find the source of it, and I wish that I could. It's somewhere in my mind, but I just don't know where. But enough about music. Okay, the music is really good. Again, Dreamland by Robert Gomolka. His other songs are very, very fascinating as well. I really enjoy all of his like songs. There's just something nice and like soothing about them, even if that isn't necessarily the intention behind them. I think they work very, very well. We have a murder to solve. We have a murder to solve, chat. This is Myrtle. Okay, wait, there's like dark mode. It's like messing up the thing. Wait, I need to enough dark mode. Okay, sorry, chat. It's okay. It's too bright. Okay, but okay. Sorry. You have to be flashbanged because this site only works in light mode. Sorry. I don't know if there's dark mode. Murder. We also need some soundtrack, and I think the best soundtrack to have would be the Dark Academia playlist. So just give me a moment to pop that on. Obviously, this is all copyright at this point, but oh well. This is Myrtle. It's a bit like Wordle, but with a murder mystery. Okay, and every day there's a new murder mystery for us to solve. Let me see if I can make this a bit larger. That way you can see more of it, and that way my head won't block all of it. What's fascinating about this is that it's a concept that isn't really seen in other sort of like DLE type games. Most DLE type games are about quizzing you, about how making you understand something, or trying to test your understanding and knowledge of like something. Nothing that I've seen takes this approach where you have to try and solve a murder. I tried it for a moment, I think yesterday or the day before, while I was sick, and I couldn't figure out how to do it. And it's very, very hard, but I think it'd be fun for us to try and go through this. And actually, there's a bunch of different murders as well, where, you know, there's an archive somewhere on the site that I found as well, like a link to on Google, where you can see all the past murder mysteries and like all the steps that you need to go through to like solve them. And that'll be fun to start today's session with this, because today, as I mentioned during the pre-stream, is a very introspective day, okay? We're going to be doing a lot of thinking today. There's a lot of games that require a lot of thought for today. And as you can tell, my thought process is very jumbled today because I'm sick. I'm very, very sick. I've been sneezing the entire day. I've had a lot of snot in my nose. And there's been a lot of, boogers flowing out of me. I've tried to avoid the boogers, but I can't really avoid them. So, I figured it's good to get practice to sort of like train my brain by playing some of this with all of you, and let's see if we can solve this murder together. Maybe this is not the right song for it, but imagine this is a murder that happened in some library. I don't know. Let's see. Murder at the Art Museum. Okay, maybe this is actually the best kind of music. Maybe Dark Academia music is the best kind of music for the segment. Here. Detective Logical knew there had been a murder in the art museum when he saw the body of the high-paid artist. We have 5 different clues here. I think these are clues. Or like, stuff that we can figure out. And there's a lot of things that you need to figure out, right? So you need to investigate the cars to learn more. And there are suspects, there are weapons, there are locations. And there are many, many different things that you need to sort of like determine in terms of like, okay, who did what, how did they do this, and like where, right? And you can see here, there's a bit of a graph where like there's different axes. So the suspects need to choose a certain weapon, and they need to do it in like a certain place. It's a very complicated game, which is very fascinating. Each suspect brought one weapon to one location, but only one was a murderer today. Logico, as always, started with what he was certain about. So we have a number of clues that we start with that'll help us on this murder mystery. Oops. The suspect in the entry hall was born on March 4th. What? Inspector Iratino had prepared an occult primer on astrology for Detective Logical. I didn't know about this. I never clicked that, actually. Logical didn't believe in astrology, but he did believe in lists. And there's a list of these. And if he's born on March 4th, what does that make you? It makes you an wait, it's not Aries. What? It makes you a Pisces. Hey, what's a Pisces? What are Pisces about? Pisces. What are the personality traits of a Pisces? Who here is a Pisces? Don't answer that, because that's how you dox your birthday. Almost got you. Pisces personalities. Compassionate, artistic, deeply emotional, especially emphatic, at least a little bit psychic. What? What do you mean a little bit psychic? You can't just be a little. You can't just be a little bit psychic. You're either psychic or you're not psychic. You can't. Okay, maybe it's like Wednesday. I don't know. So it makes sense why this happened at an art museum. The suspect in the entry hall was born on March 4th. So maybe dark mode does work. It kind of works. It kind of works. It looks weird though. The Duchess of Vermilion had a lightweight weapon, so we need to figure out who is the Duchess of Vermilion, and we need to figure out which of these weapons are lightweight, and which ones, specifically of the lightweight ones, fit to her. Either Babyface Blue, I don't know who that is, oh, Babyface Blue is literally that person, brought a cup of poison tea, or Captain Slate was atop a bunch of $20 bills, but not both. So, only one of these things can be true. We need to figure out which ones are true. Forensics determined a weapon made at least partially out of wood was present in the bathroom. So we need to figure out a weapon that's made out of wood. So it can't be a frying pan or something. It probably can't be a lamp. I don't think most lamps are made out of wood. That would be a fire hazard. A shard of ancient ceramic was found on top of flyers for art classes. So we know that whoever was giving out the flyers for the art classes was murdered with something ceramic, say a vase. So we know that the rare vase was something that was used to kill that person. Oh, no. Ah, I clicked back. Okay, don't click back. Sorry. I need to figure out how to go back to that menu. Set card down. There we go. A chemicals detector gave a positive reading on Lady Violet. So Lady Violet, which is this person, the purple, she used something, or she did something that caused chemicals to fall on her, but we don't know what chemicals. Now, what could be a chemical weapon? We'll have to figure it out. This fingerprint was found in the bathroom, which it's very hard to appear, but oh well. But yeah, you see how this game works, right? It's a very fascinating DLE. Most DLEs, again, they just test you on certain things, or they tell you to guess a word. No. This one is like a full-on murder mystery with a lot of like premise to it. It's a bit like what I kind of wanted from Shadows of like Doubt. If only I was better at that game and I could play it. At least here we have a chance of playing it. And the body itself was found at the rooftop garden. Detective Logical finally grasped the solution, and he called it his accusation. I don't know this. I don't know what happens. We'll figure it out from step 1. Okay, let's look on each of these to learn who is here. Okay, so we know the suspects. We know Brother Brownstone is one of our suspects. A monk who has dedicated his life to the church, specifically to making money for it. He's 5'4", a short king, left-handed, so he can't murder someone. But he is, being left-handed, there's a superstition of being like artistic as like well. So it's like right-handed people are good with numbers, left-handed people are very good at the arts, right? Brown eyes, brown hair, and a Capricorn, not our guy. Lady Violet, the daughter of Lord Violet, and the heiress of the Violet Isles, the largest extrajudicial territory in the world. 5'0", short queen. She's right-handed. She's a Virgo, blue eyes, blonde hair. We do know that the suspect in the entry hall was born on March 4th. So we know where they could be. So whoever was in the entry hall, we know that they are at least a Pisces. And of which the Duchess of Vermilion is. But let's see who else is also a Pisces. The Duchess is a tall old woman with tall old secrets. She's the murderer, then it certainly wouldn't be her the first time. She's 5'9", very imposing, left-handed, again, artsy, gray eyes, white hair, and a Pisces. Babyface Blue. This is absolutely one fully grown man, and not 2 kids in a trench coat. They can do adult things like see R-rated movies, buy beer, and stay out way past bedtime. Submitted by Kayla. That's a strange thing to put there. 7'8", Jesus Christ! That's like Yao Ming level, what the? Right-handed, blue eyes, blonde hair, and a Gemini. Captain Slate, the real-life astronaut. The first woman to travel around the dark side of the moon, and also first to be suspected of murdering her co-pilot. That's actually the plot of Police Knots, which we're gonna play and finish at some point. We will finish our murder mystery games at some point. 5'5", left-handed, brown eyes, brown hair, Aquarius. So we only have one person that we know of that was in the entry hall, and that was the Duchess of Vermilion. So we need to find a location, the entry hall location, not the rooftop garden. This is the entry hall, according to a plaque on the wall. Even the architecture of the entry hall was art. That explains why they charged him so much to enter. So we know that the Duchess of Vermilion was in the entry hall. That much is clear. Very easy, right? The Duchess of Vermilion had a lightweight weapon, so that's our other clue. And we have various weapons here as well. Let's check out each one and see which ones are lightweight. They have a little like primer here of the weight, but let's read each one as well. An abstract statue. Logical pretended to understand the statue, but all he understood was that a small chip was missing from its corner. Logical had solved cases where someone was bashed with something like this. It can be identified by a metal chip left behind. A metal. So we know that this is made out of metal. A cup of poisoned tea. Logical examined the tea. It was missing a tea bag. That was interesting. Or, well, it was notable. Or, well, it was something, at least. Logical itself cases where someone was poisoned with something like this. It can be identified by a tea bag left behind. There's a heavy painting. Again, once again, heavy. This is lightweight, made of ceramic and liquid. Logical didn't understand abstract as a child, but now as an adult, he still doesn't. He did understand that paint was flaking off. Logical had solved cases where someone was bashed and beaten with something like this. For evidence of this, look for a fleck of paint left behind. And I don't think a single clue mentioned paint, but one clue did mention ceramic, which is probably related to the cup of tea. However, a rare vase is also made of ceramic, and it's heavy. Logical thought about how, technically, every vase someone makes by hand is rare, because there's only one of them. He also thought about how this one seemed to be broken. Logical could imagine someone getting bashed with something like this. It could be identified by a shard of an ancient ceramic left behind. A glass of poisoned wine. Logical sure would enjoy a sip of red wine. Fortunately, he knew this one was poisoned, so he tried to resist. Logical could imagine someone getting bashed with something like this. Why come everyone's getting bashed with these things? Why does nobody get stabbed in this world? What happened to a good old stabbing? God. It reminds me of that scene in that one gangster movie. There's like one gangster movie with Tom Hardy, where where they get ambushed in like a bar, and Tom Hardy's character's brother, has his hands in his pocket with like guns, and then he gets annoyed that these people come with like pipes to like bash their heads in, and then he's like, "I was here for a fucking shootout, a proper shootout," and he like leaves angry. It reminds me of that. Why does nobody ever use like guns or stabbings in this world? Everyone bashes people with like glasses of wine and like stuff. Now, we have this one done. This is a very easy clue. The Duchess of Vermilion had a lightweight weapon that could be anything. It could be the glass of poisoned wine. Could be the cup of poisoned tea. Okay, we have two options. So we still need some more clues in order to figure out which one is which. Now, it can't be the cup of poisoned tea because look at this. Through deduction, if it was the cup of poisoned tea, Babyface Blue wouldn't be able to have the cup of poisoned tea. However, it could also be that Captain Slate was atop a bunch of $20 bills. However, it can't be both. And so we need to figure out which one is true. But we don't have a bunch of $20 bills. And so I actually think that Babyface Blue did actually bring a cup of a poisoned tea. Because we don't have a weapon or anything that we can select as a bunch of $20 bills. So if we assume that Babyface Blue had the poison tea, then that leaves only one lightweight weapon left, which is the glass of poisoned wine instead of the cup of poisoned tea, which means the Duchess of Vermilion had a glass of poisoned wine. This is all assuming that Babyface Blue did have that, and because Captain Slate can't be atop a bunch of $20 bills, because there is no $20 bill selection here. So let's give the Duchess of Vermilion a glass of poisoned wine. Forensics determined the weapon made at least partially of wood was present in the bathroom. So we need to find one of these weapons which is made of wood. So the glass of poisoned wine is accounted for, as is the tea. So we have these three left. The only thing that's made of wood, in this case, is the heavy painting. So we know that the heavy painting was found inside the washroom. This is very easy, and it's the only one that's made out of wood. Even if you account for the other two items that we've given away, it's still the only item that is actually made out of wood. So where's the washroom? That doesn't look like a washroom, but sure. It's just squares. I guess washrooms are kind of boring, actually. And then our next clue. Ancient ceramic was found on top of flyers for art classes. The only thing that has ancient ceramic was this. A rare vase. Because it can be identified by an ancient shard of ancient ceramic left behind. So if we say the rare vase was found by art flyers, we need to figure out which of these locations has art flyers as part of it. Let's check the art studio. In the back of the museum, there's an art studio that hosts classes. Logical thinks that maybe he should join a class. Maybe then he would understand what all the fuss was about. So he took a flyer. This place has art flyers because they're trying to sell you on joining these classes. So it makes sense that a rare vase would be inside there. We're actually almost done all of the clues. A chemicals detector gave a positive reading on Lady Violet. That one's going to be hard to figure out, I think. So we'll skip that for now. And now we have fingerprints. This fingerprint was found in the bathroom. Okay, wait, we can't have dark mode. Sorry, this is gonna hurt your eyes. Alright. Let's look carefully at these, okay? One of these fingerprints matches this. The key, I think, is a swirl on the bottom left. The swirl is a very easy mark to see. So it immediately gets rid of Brother Brownstone, Lady Violet, and Captain Slate. It only leaves the Duchess of Vermilion and Babyface Blue left. So we look at the pattern of the swirl, and there's a very notable difference in that the bottom left is it's slightly covered or like slightly out. My eyes. I'm sorry, chat. Listen, this is imagine you're in the red room and you're comparing like fingerprints. Okay, you're in the development room of like prints. You have to listen. It's a prerequisite for most photographers to have like eye damage because of like developing photos. Okay. Actually, there's a very famous, very famous Vietnamese song about this, where the music video is extremely sad with a photographer. He went blind because he was developing photos of his like love, and he couldn't tell his love because he was blind, so he could never find her. It was an unrequited love story. I'll ask my wife for it. She knows what the song is. Anyways, we're almost through this like room, but the bottom left, it's slightly occluded, so this is Babyface's Blue's fingerprint. Also, welcome. Nice to see you again. I actually joined Knife's stream as soon as she ended, and like rated. I'm so bad with the names. Why does everyone have a different name? Why can't you all be named the same thing so I can be like number 2, number 5? Okay, but number 1 stream ended, and then she went to like number 27 stream. It's a very fascinating timing for me. But now we know that Babyface Blue was inside the bathroom. So why was he there? Why was he inside the bathroom? And that the body was found at the rooftop garden. So whoever was the murderer should have been at the rooftop garden. The problem is that we have very incomplete clues. We actually don't have anything at all. We actually don't know anything else. We're supposed to figure this out with this? Is this a browser thing? It is a browser thing. Yeah, this is Middle. It's a daily murder puzzle. But how are you supposed to solve this? I feel like we don't have enough clues. Okay, what clues do we have? We have the weapons for 2 people. We have the locations of 2 people. And we have the locations of 2 weapons. Oh! My brain is working. We have... Okay, if you know who holds the weapon, you know where they were. If you know where they were, you know what weapon they held. That's the key. So let's confirm. Babyface Blue is for sure the one inside the washroom, right? What's his weapon? A painting. What was also found inside the washroom? A piece of wood, which is tied to the heavy painting. So we know that Babyface Blue could not be the murderer because the body was found on the rooftop garden. Whoever was on the rooftop garden is the murderer. This is a game of deduction. So we need to wipe out all the possibilities as we go. Huh? Oh, that's how you do it. That's how you do it. So we know that this is true. Wait a minute, chat. I just realized what we're playing. We're playing murder Sudoku. I was bamboozled once again into playing Sudoku. The game of deduction. No, this is not the game of deduction. This is just murder Sudoku. God, it's always Sudoku. It's always Sudoku. God damn it. Now let's see. Okay, what other clues do we have? Darn, you were hoping for Minesweeper. If you think about it, Minesweeper is just a very complicated Sudoku where you die in real life. It's a bit like SAO. Minesweeper is the SAO of Sudoku. Now we have one more clue that we didn't actually figure out, which was the chemicals that gave a positive reading on Lady Violet. This is a very huge clue because it means that one of these things is related. One of the weapons gave a smell of her, or even a location, right? It doesn't necessarily say that the chemical smell needs to come from a weapon. It could come from a location as well. But let's see if any of these things have a chemical smell. Abstract statue. It has no chemical smell. Skimming it. Cup of poison tea could have a chemical smell, but then it'd be a bad poison. Heavy painting has no chemical smell as well, as far as I can see. A rare vase has no chemical smell. A glass of poisoned wine has no chemical smell, so it must be a location. Or maybe they just smell like a chemical. I don't know. The rooftop garden, where the body was found. Rooftop garden, with pigeons. Logical thought that Iratino would particularly like the rooftop, though honestly, he probably loves all of this art stuff. Iratino being his Watson. The entry hall, according to a plaque on the wall. Even the architecture of the entry hall was art. That explains why they charged him so much to enter. The gift shop. Logical examined the gift shop, which at least he understood. Anybody can understand a cash register stuffed with 20s. Oh, wait. That's interesting. A cash register stuffed with 20s. An art studio. Let's see. In the back of the museum, there's an art studio that hosts classes. Logical thinks that maybe he should join a class. Maybe then he would understand what all the fuss was about, so he took a flyer. The bathroom. Logical spent several minutes examining what he thought was a sculpture, which turned out to be the door to the bathroom. Inside there were several fancy soaps. What could be considered a chemical? Now, there's two things that stand out to me there, actually. So maybe my clue of Babyface Blue was wrong. If you think about like this, okay? We know that the painting was inside that place, right? However, if it's inside that place, then Captain Slate can't be sitting on a bunch of $20 bills. But the gift shop has a register stuffed with $20 bills. So for that to be true, it means that Babyface, what's his name? Captain Slate wasn't inside the gift shop. So basically, it's either that Babyface Blue had the heavy painting, or that Captain Slate was inside the gift shop. If Captain Slate was inside the gift shop, what does that change? In terms of like what we solve? Not really much of anything, actually. It doesn't solve anything at all. Because we have no other clues for the gift shop. However, us solving Babyface Blue also doesn't really give us anything, because it doesn't really get rid of many possibilities. So let's assume that this is true. That Captain Slate was inside the gift shop. Does that tell us about where that weapon was? No. This is hard. And what was a chemicals detector reading on Lady Violet? What could possibly be a chemical? Well, I guess I know what could be a chemical. Do they include heavy painting varnish as a chemical? Like a paint? See, this is the problem. This is why being a detective is hard, because you need to know science. You need to be a multidisciplined person, right? You can't just shoot every suspect that you see, because that's not how you solve crimes, alright? You need to like think about things. God, I think he's hard. Could poison be chemical based? My dear Watson, I believe you're onto something. This is like if Sherlock Holmes like wasn't actually good at his job, but like Watson was just like the one solving everything. And so Watson's like, Sherlock, do you believe that poison could be a chemical? My dear Watson, I do believe you're onto something. It's like, wait a minute, it seems kind of obvious. But you're right, that's what I was thinking too, right? Because then, if poison is a chemical, then she could be one of these two. So Lady Violet could have actually been the one to have one of these two. Which is either a poisoned tea or poisoned wine. But then, as you said, it's just a mess then, right? But let's see how this plays out. If it was this, then what do we know? It solves these squares, but that doesn't really make sense. But it does actually lend credence, because then no one else had these, right? Babyface Blue would have had poisoned tea at this point. Wait a minute! Why did I give him the painting? Oh, because he was inside the thing. Wait a minute. No, I'm sorry. He did have the painting. He didn't have the poison, which means Captain Slate was on the $20 bills. Right, I'm stupid. Sorry. See, this is why being a detective is hard too, because you are your worst enemy. Okay, sorry. We need to go back to square one, alright? Just think of your brain cells. Think of Jimmy Neutron and his brain cells. We need Jimmy Neutron's like think thing soundbite, but I don't have it. We know Babyface Blue was inside the washroom. Why? His fingerprint. The one that we went through light mode for. We know that he was inside the washroom. And we know that the heavy painting was inside the washroom too, because it is a piece of a piece of wood, which is the only thing here that's made out of wood is the heavy painting. So it must... Wait. No, it's not. I got the weapon wrong. Okay, wait. Redo everything. Redo everything. Oh god, I'm getting fired, guys. I'm getting fired, chat. I'm gonna get fired. Oh no. Okay, wait. We start back from square one. Don't worry. Okay, don't worry. By this point, the suspects have already left the building, and my boss is already calling because there's a second murder. Okay, it's fine. We're gonna start back from square one, okay? We know Babyface Blue was in the washroom. We're not gonna redo the fingerprint again. because I don't want to hurt your eyes. Okay, so we know that's done. Suspect in the entry hall was born on March 4th. A Pisces. Who is a Pisces? Why does it? Oh, who is a Pisces? The Duchess of Vermilion was in the entry hall. Okay? So you're here, 100% because she's the only Pisces. The Duchess of Vermilion had a lightweight weapon, so which could have been either. So it could have been... Okay, wait, ignore that because there's two. So, okay, this was the one. Babyface Blue can't have been inside there. A piece of wood was... a weapon made partially out of wood was inside the bathroom. It's not the painting. I'm sorry. Whatever would have left behind a piece of wood. So this leaves a metal chip. This leaves a tea bag. This leaves a fleck of paint. This leaves a shred of ceramic. This leaves a red droplet. What? Forensics determined the weapon made at least partially out of wood. Oh. No, it said made of paint, canvas, and wood. I messed up. What I thought it was that it left a fleck of paint. So, what I thought that clue said was there was a piece of wood left behind. But they actually found the entire weapon, and the weapon itself was made partially out of wood. So when I saw the painting, I was like, it can't be the painting, because it would have left behind a fleck of paint. But no, they found the entire weapon, and the entire weapon is made out of paint, canvas, and wood. It's the only weapon made out of wood. So it has to be the painting inside the washroom. Which means Babyface Blue was inside the washroom. So that we know for sure is clear. Which means that Captain Slate was inside the gift shop, because either Babyface Blue brought a cup of poison tea, or Captain Slate was atop of a bunch of $20 bills, but it can't be both. If it's not Babyface Blue, because we ruled them out, Captain Slate was on top of a pile of $20 bills, which was in the gift shop, which was had a register full of $20 bills. Okay, now we're getting somewhere. Okay, look, the Sudoku board is getting filled. This is easier than... This is so... I'm a genius! Okay, so now we got that. A shard of ancient ceramic was found on top of flyers for art classes. Okay, so we know that ancient ceramic is a part of the only one thing here. A rare vase. So the rare vase was inside of the art class. The art studio at some point. We're getting closer. Chat, by this point, the suspects have all left the building. They've gone home. They're preparing for their next murder. It's fine. We'll catch them again. It's fine. A chemical detector gave a positive reading on Lady Violet. Now, this is the hard one. Okay, everything else is easy. This is the hard one. These two. The Duchess of Vermilion had a lightweight weapon. So the Duchess of Vermilion, being Lady Violet, her. What's your name again? What's your name? Whatever. She had a lightweight weapon, which can only be the cup of poison tea or the glass of poison wine. However, Lady Violet gave a chemical reading, of which there are only two things that can give her a chemical reading. A cup of poison wine, or a glass, or a cup of poison tea. So either of these two could be true. But there are no other circumstantial things that could lead us to somewhere. But that can't be the case. There has to be a way to narrow this down. There has to be. So maybe the chemical isn't from the weapon. Maybe the chemical is from the place. Which of these places has a chemical smell? Would an art studio have chemical smells? Maybe, right? Because the smell of chemicals is on paint. Entry halls have nothing. The rooftop garden wouldn't have anything either. It's just a bunch of trees. Gift shop would have no chemicals. I don't think they sell drugs. The bathroom does have several fancy soaps though, but we know who is inside of the bathroom. So let's change tact. If the chemical smell doesn't come from a weapon, and it comes from a place, and there's only two places, Lady Violet has only two options to go to, the rooftop garden or the art studio. This would narrow it down immediately. The rooftop garden is where the body was found, but also there's no chemicals up there. It narrows it down immediately. And so the only person who could have been there would have possibly been Brother Brownstone. So Brother Brownstone would have been the only person who could have murdered the suspect on the rooftop, if we go with that. And it also makes sense because we know where the Duchess of Vermilion was. She wasn't the murderer, right? So neither of these characters were the murderer. And if we go by the chemical smell being a location and not a weapon, then it would make sense for her to be in the art studio, which would then leave Brother Brownstone on the rooftop with the murder weapon. But what is his murder weapon? We still have 3 murder weapons, 4 actually, completely unsolved. We still don't know. So how do we narrow down the murder weapons now? It's so hard to kill someone. Like, why is it so hard to kill someone? Jesus Christ. But we know that the lightweight weapons, at least one of them, wasn't in the hands of the murderer. And it wasn't in the hands of anyone else. We know Babyface Blue's weapon. Is there any way to narrow that anyone else's weapon, right? She takes out one choice. The Duchess of Vermilion takes out one choice. How do you get rid of the 2 choices? Duchess of Vermilion, lightweight weapon. Because this is lightweight and this is lightweight. But we need to somehow find some clues to get there. And we need to figure out where they were when they were holding these weapons too. This is so hard. Okay, let's think about this. We know that Captain Slate was inside the gift shop. Was he holding anything in particular? Let's read his description now. A real-life astronaut. The first woman to travel around the dark side of the moon. And also the first to be suspected of murdering her co-pilot. She's left-handed. Does that say anything about the weapon? No. How about the Duchess of Vermilion? The Duchess is a tall old woman with tall old secrets. She's a murderer, then it certainly wouldn't be her first time. She's left-handed. That doesn't tell me anything either. But the handedness. Wait, it must be the handedness then. Does that make sense? I don't think any of these things... I could kill someone with either of my hands. Either of them. I could use both hands. I could use both hands at the same time, clap your eardrums, pop them, like in the Kung Fu movie, and you'd be dead. A real-life astronaut as opposed to what? A virtual astronaut? Listen. When we played Maid Mirroring games, you'll see a bunch of virtual astronauts. Then you'll understand. But nothing here is helping us narrow down these choices. It's these choices left. Let's assume. Let's make some assumptions, chat. Let's make some assumptions. Let's say that the Duchess of Vermilion was using the poison tea. Okay? Wait a minute. Where? I just had a thought. Wait. The music is helping. I just had a thought. Wait. Read the descriptions of the weapons carefully. A glass of poisoned wine. He knew that this one was poisoned, so he tried to resist. Logical could imagine someone getting bashed with something like this. For evidence of this, look for a red droplet left behind. So this was not to drink with. This was not made to drink with. The cup of poisoned tea, however, it's missing a tea bag. It was notable. It was something. And this is the only one that could have actually poisoned someone, and it can be identified by a tea bag left behind. That tells me nothing. Oh, wait! I'm a fool! Look, it says right here. Made of glass, chemicals, and alcohol. Oh, it's right there. Yeah, of course, yeah. Made of chemicals. Okay, cool. Okay, so actually we do know. So for Lady Violet, it's not where she was. We still don't know where Lady Violet was. However, we know what weapon she had. She had the glass of poisoned wine because it's made of chemicals. Okay, so that actually solves that. That actually solves a lot. That solves a lot now. Which means that the Duchess of Vermilion could not have had this. She must have had this. The cup of poisoned tea. And we know that because Duchess of Vermilion was inside the entryway, the cup of poisoned tea was inside the entryway. And we know that because Lady Violet... We don't know where she was. Where was she? Cup of poisoned tea. Wait. Where was Babyface? Where was Captain Slate? We know where Captain Slate was. So we know that the cup of poisoned wine could not have been inside the gift shop. It could not have been inside the gift shop. Wait, we found the murderer. It's her. It's Lady Violet. Does that make sense? Yeah. Because Captain Slate was inside the gift shop, but because he's inside the gift shop, the glass of poisoned wine can't be inside the gift shop. And so it's like, what happens is that the only choice left if it wasn't inside the gift shop is the rooftop garden. In which case, this would be the only place left for it to be. And so it was inside the rooftop garden where it was found. And so Captain Slate and them had two different weapons. The rare vase could have belonged to him. It doesn't really matter. Like, it doesn't matter what these two had. It matters what she has and where she was. She's placed right at the point of murder. Huh? No, how's that make sense? Where? So we know that the glass of poison wine is hers, which then makes the Duchess of Vermilion's choice of weapon the cup of poison tea, because those are the only two lightweight weapons. But because of this, it can't be inside the gift shop. There's only two locations that we don't know where the weapons were. The gift shop is already taken by what's-his-face. So it has to be here. Yeah, she's the murderer. Okay, who? Lady Violet. How? A glass of poison wine. Where? The rooftop garden. Make your accusation. Resolution. It was Lady Violet with a glass of poisoned wine in the rooftop garden. Deductive logical... Wait, am I correct? Was he right? I don't know. All these deductions going on make you want to shill Return of the Obra Dinn again. I was gonna play it soon, actually. But the problem is that there's so many games coming out. So we're actually playing... Today's gonna be like a 14-hour stream, because there's so many games that came out. This is all training because I'm sick, which you can't really tell, but you can probably tell because I'm going faster than usual. My thoughts are all jumbled because I've been trying to sleep, and sleep has been interrupted. This is just a way for us to train our brain to get used to the thoughts that we need to think about today. Because the game that we're going to be playing today, Cryptmaster, is apparently very, very interesting, and you need to think a lot to actually play the game. However, I don't think this training is going very, very well because my brain feels even worse now. My brain hurts, actually. Everything hurts. Everything hurts. Okay, wait. So let's fill this out. It leaves... This doesn't make any sense. Wait, what? If he's in the gift shop, what weapon does that leave him with? It's either these two, right? But he has the only weapon left, which is this one. So he was inside the art studio, which had the vase. So this is his weapon. Yeah, it's filled out. Cool. Okay, yeah. This all makes sense. Okay, yeah. I was right. Boom! While Lady Violet protested her innocence, she could not withstand the breathtakingly logical arguments our deductive presented, and she confessed under the pressure. I can't believe a bloody commoner could beat me like this, she spat. Deductive logical watched her be led away, knowing it was the last he would see of her. And that concludes Murder at the Art Museum. You solved today's murder in 30 minutes? Oh my god, 29 minutes and 7 seconds. How many days can you keep your streak going? Tomorrow's will be available in 9 hours and 23 minutes. I was paid $16 dues for cracking today's case, bringing my total sum to $16. Nice. What's my check my merit? What? Mart Murder Tarot. Mirror is an oracle deck that uses the cards from Murder Mystery game Myrtle. Turn over the 3 cards below and learn what Inspector Iratino predicts for your day. Today's middle solution consists of Lady Violet, a right-handed Virgo, which is that you have aristocratic tendencies, huh? And a glass of poison wine, which corresponds to a sudden betrayal, enjoying an illicit thrill, familiarity, happy memories, and or what? This will ultimately lead to the roof of the garden, generally signifying being normal and ordinary. This is what you desire, and we must seek a glass of poison wine metaphorically today. The secrets of life are here in the mirror, Iratino says, shuffling the deck. Huh? If we want to be normal, be bad. That doesn't seem very fun. Oh no. Never heard of Cryptmaster. Just looked it up on Steam and it looks like Nightmare Fuel. You love it. Yesterday was a deluge of indie games. And honestly, it's why today's stream is going to be long. It's why we had to go through this training. Because it is a fascinating game. It looks very fascinating, and it seems like you have to craft certain words to like do certain things. So I can't wait to play it. And that's what we're going to be playing. Rather this, I'm honestly surprised that we even solved this murder mystery. This was a good warm up for our brain to get used to things. And tomorrow, I think we'll be doing this every single day because it was fun. It's like a brain teaser thing. That says everything and nothing at the same time. The marrow, you mean? Yeah, that yeah. It's a bit like real tarot cards. I have a set. I have a set of tarot cards actually. I bought it as a gift from my wife. It's nice gold flaked tarot cards. My wife and I don't really believe in it, but we do it for fun. Basically, it means nothing. You can say a lot of things about it, but it never means anything, like, really. It's just a bunch of things that, like, are generic enough to apply to your life that you can, like, construe in any way towards what you want to hear. But it is at least a way of giving meaning to some mysteries in your life. It's a way of at least providing some level of order to the chaos which you might desire. That's what I find is the true value of like tarot cards and of like palm readings and like stuff. It's a way of helping you navigate the unknown, even if you know that it's not necessarily true. It at least feels good to believe that maybe it could be. One day we'll do a live palm reading, and you'll know when I'll die. That would be interesting, actually. If I go to like a palm reader, it would be interesting if I go to a palm reader and they pick up my hand and they start to like shake uncontrollably, right? And they start to like sweat and tears start falling from their eyes. And then they look at me and they go, "I'm sorry," and then they just leave. It's like, what happened? I should do that. I should just make my own fortune telling company, right? The first person that I ever do fortune telling for, I should do that, freak them out, leave, and take down all the signs for like fortune telling. I don't think I think I might give someone like lifelong charm. Why does nobody ever do that? I feel like that'd be so funny. Reminds you of the article you saw once where they compiled a list of fitting gifts based on people's zodiacs. And they were all expensive stuff. Like, no shit, Sherlock. Of course, people are going to be happy. Yeah, exactly. And you know for sure that every single link that they gave you to those things had a referral link. So they were getting like a small kickback on like every single purchase too. It's strange, right? Because it gives you comfort in like knowing things. But unlike deduction, tarot and fortune reading and palm reading and stuff like that, it's based on a level of mysticism that is effectively like reading tea leaves, right? It's finding meaning in the most meaningless things. It's not actually figuring out based on clues, based on things that actually happened. It's more about trying to make meaning out of nothing in order to give meaning to our meaningless lives. Damn. Maybe I do believe in it, actually. Because that sounds pretty good. You're playing a fortune-telling game these days, too. The Cosmic Real Sister. I was going to play that, too. See, there's so many games to play. Oh, there's so many games to play. Yeah, I saw that game, too. That game released last year, I think, or the beginning of this year. And I was like, I really want to play this. And then we got stuck. Just, like, busy playing different things. My zodiac sign says you have to buy a house for me, for you to be as successful. My zodiac sign says that you must donate $500 to me today, right now. Otherwise, this stream will not be successful. I mean, otherwise you will be cursed for the rest of your life. You must donate $500 to me right now. That's what your zodiac sign says. All right, chat. Every single day, we're gonna start with a tarot reading. And I'm gonna say the same thing. I'm gonna say a variation of the same thing of giving me $500. You're giving me a new daily stream bit. That's actually amazing. Oh man. But see, we need to save our brain juices here. All right, we need to save our power to make believe for Cryptmaster. Before we do though, because we successfully solved the murder mystery, I'm going to treat you all to one more song. Not because I actually have to make a call or anything, but one more piano song, which is also from one of these Dark Academia playlists. It's a very good song as well. Give me a moment to find the link. I always do this. This is Il Volo, aka The Flight, by the Concords. No, just kidding. You imagine? This is Il Volo by Zeppi. It's a very good piano song. And then once we're done this, we'll go right into Cryptmaster. Sorry. You wonder if volo means will slash freedom. Yeah, in my in my long research, delving into the Rosetta Stone, what I found was that it means flight in some language that I don't know because the Rosetta Stone doesn't tell me anything. Yeah, that's what I also got from my long delve into the Rosetta Stone. Which I guess is also kind of like similar, right? Because like to fly is to be free, or like at least symbolically, it's like that feeling of like, oh, you're free from the confines of the ground until you hit the ground. Because humans can't fly. Because when you hit the ground, then you're no longer free. You just die. Um, Anyways, don't skydive. We're going into Cryptmaster right now. Hope you enjoyed that song. Again, Il Volo by Zeppi. Zeppi. Not Zeppy. And not Led Zeppelin. Those are two different things. Finally, your Latin classes pay off when translating random Italian words. But the best part is it pays off in a random Twitch stream that should have no bearing at all to either of those things. Just every day, you never know what you're going to... You never know. You never know what you're going to find on this channel, right? One day, we play, like strange jazz music. The next day, I'm playing piano ballads and showing you guys like academia. This is what I missed this whole time. Anyways, let's go into Cryptmaster before we get too like lost in things.